People here just really embrace all parts of themselves and all parts of other people. Hi, this is Emin. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are all having an awesome day so far. Today is a very exciting, special video. I am celebrating my 4 years of living in Germany, more specifically Berlin. It's been 4 years since I moved here from Toronto, and I cannot believe that it's been 4 years. I honestly feel like I've been here for a year, maybe a year and a half, but 4 years, I can't exactly comprehend that. Honestly, time has gone by so fast, and yeah, we're here now, and I wanted to say a big thank you to all of you who have supported my channel over the last few years. If you've been watching my videos, even if you've just clicked on this video for the first time, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate all of you who have followed my journey, sent me encouraging messages, and made it really fun for me to document my experience of living in Berlin for the last 4 years. So actually, in honor of my 4 years of living in Berlin, I am releasing my new ebook, Thrive in Berlin. It will be linked down below for anyone who's interested in getting it. It is a guide for anyone who is planning to move to Berlin or is planning to settle down here as quickly as possible. I get so many questions from a lot of you who are planning to move here or just got here and you're still trying to figure it out, you know, how to settle in, how to find an apartment quickly, you know, what are the best areas to live in, even things like how to find a doctor. You know, the common things that you would need when settling in a brand new city. So I have compiled all of my knowledge, all of my tips into this new ebook. So if you are in the process of moving here, or even if you're just thinking about moving to Berlin, I would highly recommend checking it out. So yeah, I'll go ahead and link it down below, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it and find it helpful. And if you do get it, I would love to hear your feedback and let me know what you think. But for today's video, we are going to be talking about the things that I didn't expect when I moved to Berlin. You know, part of the reason why I created the ebook, Thrive in Berlin, is because I remember getting here and I was so excited about everything. You know, when you move to a new city, everything is super shiny and beautiful and you're sort of mesmerized by the whole experience. But then the reality sets in that, holy shit, I'm gonna be living here. Like, this is my home. And how am I going to figure things out? How am I gonna set up my life here? You know, you have to start from the very basics. And alongside with, you know, figuring out how to settle in as quickly as possible and make Berlin your new home as quickly as possible, you also start to learn things along the way, and maybe it's things that will really shock you that you didn't expect. And I definitely had a lot of those experiences over the last 4 years. So I want to talk about some of the main ones. So one of the first things I didn't expect, and I think this is something that everyone struggles with, is finding an apartment, a place to live here. This was definitely a huge struggle for me, and over the last 4 years, I have moved to 6 places because when I first moved here, I struggled a lot to find a long-term lease, and finally in the second year, I managed to land one, so it's the flat that I'm currently in. But as you'll see in the book, if you do get it, I do give a lot of tips on how to find a flat and, you know, all of the things that help me lock down a long-term lease, because it can be so stressful when you've just arrived somewhere to try to find a flat. And I didn't expect the market to be so competitive here. Honestly, it was such a shock when I would go to viewings and there would be lineups outside of the flat for people wanting to see it, and you would have to compete with different people, or as soon as a posting went up online, it would be down, you know, within the first 10 minutes because there was already so many applications put in. So it is a very, very stressful process, and especially with so many expats and foreigners moving to the city over the last 4 years, it is very, very competitive. So I had no idea about this. Again, it was one of the big shocks when I first moved here. It's one of those things that I like to call a rite of passage of living in Berlin and really making Berlin home, because if you haven't struggled to find an apartment, then you are are not a true Berliner. The second thing I didn't expect when I moved here is how chill people are about their sexuality, about talking about sex. The sex club industry here is huge, and I had no idea about this, but it is a really big part of the Berliner culture. When I came here to visit, I didn't experience anything of that. I wasn't even aware of all of the different, sex clubs here and truly, how carefree people were. I knew that people, were not afraid to be themselves, but people here just really embrace all parts of themselves and all parts of other people. And there are so many sex clubs in the city. There's really such a huge nightlife here, which I think a lot of people know because Berlin is known for a lot of their clubs like Berghain, but I didn't know anything about, the sex clubs. One of the most famous ones is called Kit Kat. So if you want to look that up, you can, but you might see some pictures that you didn't expect. But unfortunately, that has closed down. I know a lot of Berliners are sad about it. But yeah, it's just a huge part of the culture here, and it's really cool to be in a city that's just so free and, people have no issues talking about it. No subject is taboo. So it is one of my favorite things about living in the city, that people are just that way and they fully embrace everything. But it was a shock, and I remember being super prude when I first got here and people were talking about what they did on the weekend or what club they went to and all of the things, and I was like, oh my god, that happened, people do that. I was like super shocked, like a little innocent girl from a small village. I just didn't know about this, but now I'm just like, I've heard it all. I've seen a lot of things. It's just Berlin, and it's just one of the cool things about living here. Another thing I did not expect when moving here is how gloomy the winters are. If you guys have been watching any of my vlogs recently, I'm sorry, I've been complaining about the weather. I am outside, as you can see, in rainy Berlin. Today is a sunny, beautiful day, but the majority of the winters are not sunny and they're very gloomy. And for someone who has to film videos and needs natural light, not having sunlight really affects my mood. It can really make me feel down, and if I don't check myself, I think I can go into a really, really deep, dark hole. So yeah, that has been a really big shock. Again, when I first got here and I experienced my first winter here, I didn't really take much notice of it, but now that I've been living here for 4 years, it's really taken a toll on me. And it could be also because we're in lockdown as well, but I just didn't expect the weather and the long winters to affect me so much. Now, the nice thing though is that the winters are not that harsh. They're not typically cold. Right now it is -11 outside, but typically they're not that cold. And from somebody coming from Toronto where winters are very, very harsh, I can deal with the temperatures in the winter time here, but the lack of sun is something that's definitely impacted me. And I didn't expect it because when I came to Berlin to visit, I came in the summertime, which is, the best time to be in the city. It's when I recommend everybody come to the city. And if you have friends or family visiting you, tell them to come in the summertime. It truly is the best. It's when Berlin is at its peak. So yeah, I came in the summer and I got a false idea of what life in Berlin would look like year round. But yes, if you are from a warmer climate, then do be aware that winters might be a bit harsh, and just remember to take care of your mental health when you are here in the winter. Take your vitamin D. I don't mean to sound like a mom, but take your vitamin D, go out for walks, exercise, because again, you don't want to go into a downward spiral and just get seasonal depression, because it can happen if you're not watching yourself closely and truly knowing how the weather impacts you. Another thing I didn't expect when I moved here is how much I would enjoy the parks, the nature, the scenery. My whole life growing up, I have been a city girl. I loved big cities. I loved, cities with a lot of noise, with a lot of action, with a lot of people. But ever since moving here, I gravitate to nature so much more, and I want to be out all the time. I want to go on long walks. In the summer, I want to be at the park. I want to be, having a barbecue, just chilling with a drink at the park, just being outside. I truly, truly love that about being in Berlin. Berlin has a ton of parks and people really embrace that culture here. And now when I picture my life, like 5 years, 10 years down the line, I can't imagine myself living in a city that has a super dense population and doesn't have a lot of nature around it. It's one of my personal favorite things about living in Berlin because it is obviously still a big city. It has all of the benefits of being in a big city, but when you go out, you don't feel like you're in a big city. You don't get the stressful environment. You don't get that hustle and bustle where people are fighting to get somewhere and people are just always stressed. Sometimes I go out and I don't see anybody for a while. The cities are not super congested. You have a lot of open space and you have a lot of parks within the city, which just makes it, really relaxing here. And I think it contributes to that really nice work-life balance that living in Berlin provides. And for any of you who are moving here from a big city, I think this is something that you're also really gonna love. And you'll probably notice that your whole mindset will shift as well when it comes to work-life balance and just being in nature more. And obviously the rest of Germany has a beautiful nature as well. And one of my goals for this summer coming up, hopefully if things go back to normal, is to explore a lot more of Germany, a lot more of the parks, the castles. I want to take a road trip around the whole country. So definitely make sure to stick around, hit subscribe, because guys, if things go back to normal this summer, it's on. We are gonna go exploring, and of course, I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride. So yeah, guys, that's all for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And again, for anyone who is in the process of moving to Berlin, or you want more tips on how to settle in as quickly as possible and make it a really smooth transition for you, make sure to check out my new ebook, Thrive in Berlin. It will be linked down below. And I hope that you guys all have an awesome day. I will talk to you all in my next one. Tschüss!